Okay, so about a week ago, I took delivery of a new embroidery machine, an SWF KX 1501. And this video was to do a show and tell of the machine, only the audio was so terrible. It had a lot of feedback. I mean, we pushed through and we went ahead and talked about the machine as best we could, but the audio was just absolutely terrible. So, what am I doing today? I'm doing a voiceover to record over the top of that nasty feedback. So we're going to try to recreate what happened in the live video. At this point, I'm probably saying hello to Cindy and Barb. Who else was there? I think Debbie popped in. Frank was there for just a moment. And everybody else. So, again, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Now, there I was making indication to another camera setup I was going to work with, and I was having some problems getting it to work. It's a Mevo camera. What's really awesome is that it uses Wi Fi to record. And I wanted to use that camera to focus in on some of the details of the machine. I started talking about uh, the different machines, the machines I've had, the machines I have sold, and the reason why I decided to buy a new machine this year. I had no intention of it, but I did really want to reduce my footprint. I wanted a smaller machine, but I didn't want to lose any of the stitch area that I had. So I went to Dax. If you don't know what Dax is, Dax Trade Shows, it's an embroidery trade show. In fact, I don't recall what Dax actually sounds like, what it actually means. But there they had a couple of different machines on display. And of course, I've had SWF before. And I did look at the other two brands that was there. The Tajima was very encouraging, but I couldn't get anybody to reach back to me. I sent an email, they had my email. I was looking, I was a serious buyer, but I got nothing back. Where SWF, and again, I've been working with them for a few years now. Um, Dennis was right on it. He sent me uh, an email on the Monday following the event, and we put this together. They had a buyer that was interested in buying my machine for a price that I was agreeable to. Um, and it worked out really well. I got the financing. I went through Geneva, uh, who carries my lease notes for my previous machine as well as my white toner printer, and they were really easy to work with. Let's see what else. So yeah, it was coordinated. They were going to come and pick up the old machine from St. Louis, which is where SWF is located, and then they were going to deliver the new machine from St. Louis. So I had suggested that if we could put this together and coordinate it, that they pick up the old machine at the same time that they delivered the new machine, and they were open to that, and it was terrific. And the driver, Seth, he brought the new machine down or up because I'm up north of them, uh, pulled the old machine out. We put the new machine in place. We set up all the threads. We went over some of the control panel. Now, and I know I show it here in just a minute, that control panel, it's amazing. It's amazing. Now, a few years back, they offered me the new machine, the previous generation that had the new control panel, and at the time, I said no, I wasn't interested in learning a new control panel. What a silly goose I was. So when we get to it, you're going to see that this control panel is massive. It's massive. But what's really great about it is you can see everything from across the room, even. You can see what thread you're on, where you are in the design, um, error messages. Of course, there really aren't any. Let's see. We're going to pause here. Oh, yep. So here I am trying to focus in. You're looking at my room. But look, did you see a glass? Oh, that's my happy machine. I'm reorganizing my space now that I have more room, and it's pretty chaotic in here. Look at this table. This is the table for the machine, the sash frame. That table is absolutely monstrously huge for what looks like a compact machine, but it's not. The the sash frame is almost exactly the same size as my previous big machine. Now, I want to try to show you this screen. I'm going to put my cell phone up there so that you can get an idea of what the size of the screen is. Yeah, fussing around with that camera. Oh, look, it's the auto tensioning system. Yeah, this machine has auto tensioning. No knobs. All I do is thread the machine. Those two bars those two bars are magnetic bars that engage and adjust the tension as needed. It reads the stitch type in the software, in the design file. It reads the stitch type, and whether it's a straight stitch, a running stitch, a fill stitch, or a satin, and it adjusts. Look at this. Did you see that? Did you see how that magnetic bar just came right off? That's it. That's it. The threads all come behind that. The little magnetic disc that you saw will press or release as needed. It was really easy to thread. You just bring it down, up through the upper U, down to the lifters. It was amazing. It was amazing. Um, okay, so here we are heading over to the control panel. Look at how big those icons are. Yeah, they're huge. And they are relatively similar in placement to the previous control panel, which is really nice. But it's a touch screen. Oh, look, there's my cell phone. My cell phone is about well, actually, give me a minute and I'll measure it out. My cell phone with case is 6.5 inches tall. So that monitor, that control panel, is about 3.5 cell phones across, and another half a cell phone tall. It's massive. I love it. So coming back, let's see. Let's see if I can figure out what we were talking about. I think we were talking about the patches that I had just stitched. Yep, here it is. This is the patch. This is the first thing that I ran on that machine was a set of 20 patches. They came out beautiful. The stitches were beautiful. They laid perfectly. There was no massive shifting of the design, and we'll talk about why that is in just a bit. Uh, but again, I made 20 patches. That was the very first thing I stitched on the machine. In fact, they did an on site training with me just Wednesday of this last week, Wednesday the 22nd. And I have to say, the technician that was here, he was amazed that I had already put on the machine over 500,000 stitches. Yeah, this baby's going to get a lot of work. So, we're still talking about patches. Somebody was asking me um, what kind of, uh, oh, what did she want? She wanted to know how I finished them off. After the patches were done, I would trim, and then I use a flame to seal the edges. I'll show it here in a little bit. I use a spirit lamp, just a nice easy way. It holds rubbing alcohol, 90% isopropyl alcohol. It burns real clean. Oh, what am I doing here? Oh, I'm going to load a design. So we select, and remember, I had just had the machine just a few days, so I wasn't quite as confident as to where all the buttons were. First thing you need to do is click the design button, load the design to the machine, so you save it in machine. Then you go back to the designs and select the design you want to stitch. Now, this last week, he showed me some shortcuts on how to bypass some of the duplicate steps I'm doing, but you know how it is. You get bombarded with information, and when you go to use it, you don't quite remember. So, I do have a manual for the control panel. Going to study that, work on it a little bit. This screen here is just, oh, there she is. Cindy was asking about how I finish off the edges. And this is when I was talking about the spirit lamp. Let's see if, yeah, sorry about that. You're getting the top of my head. There it is. That's the spirit lamp. Fill it up with alcohol. Light the, there, light the wick, and it holds a nice clean flame. You can use two hands to run the patch over. Cleans up those edges. Now, we went back to the control panel. That particular screen just tells you all the stats about the design file, and then you hit load. Now, I loaded my sample, my hat sampler, because I wanted to show you to continue loading the design. The next step, obviously, is to select my thread colors. This control panel now tells you how many color changes there are. In this case, it was just one. So we're going to select a color. And let's see. Yeah, yep. Just going to select a color. And then once that's collected, we just close that screen, goes back. Now I'm going to shift around here. Oh, showing you the hoop. Now, you know, I use the Mighty Hoop magnetic hoops, but the hoops with the brackets were just a bit too long for the machine. So this last week, I sent the brackets to my husband's work, and they cut them down for me, cleaned them up. But in the meantime, I was using the round hoop that came with the machines, and yeah, isn't that a nice picture of the front of the machine? Okay, here we are. Hoop is on the machine. I'm going to press What did I do? Did I trace? I'm pretty sure. I always trace. I always trace. So while we're fussing with this, hey, I was um to remember some of the things I was thinking about giving the machine a name. I had started out calling it Mr. K because it's a KX 1501, but there are several different oiling points on this machine. More sensors, more motors, more oiling points. And, I just don't want to forget to do that oiling. So I thought I might just name it Seymour. It says, feed me as a reminder. Does it sound kind of corny? Do you know where that's from? Anybody watch Little Shop of Horrors? It's about a people eating plant who's always hungry. So yes, I did trace there, and now we're going to wait, and we're going to stitch, and we're not going to do a lot of stitching, just a little bit to show you uh, how the quality of stitching in the letters. Just give it a moment. I'm stalling for time. Remember, we had this whole big conversation while we were recording live, and I'm now doing a voiceover because the um, the audio quality was so terrible. All right, so here I'm taking the camera. I'm trying to angle it so you can watch the stitching because the one thing I wanted you to see while it was stitching was how the presser foot works. Look at that. Can you catch that? The presser foot within the first 3 stitches reads the thickness or the how much pressure it needs to hold the fabric in place while it makes that stitch. The other thing that happens, the presser foot itself is on its own motor, and it actually goes down and holds the fabric. The needle follows it, the needle comes back up, the presser foot goes back up. Now, if you're ever interested, SWF has a slow motion video on their YouTube channel. But I thought that was very ingenious because flagging happens or fabric slippage happens, and thread loops. That happens because the needle is pulling the fabric up with it as it's making an exit from the stitch. In this system, the presser foot continues to hold the fabric down until the needle has released it, and then it starts over again. The presser foot will go down, the needle will engage and make a stitch and return, and then the presser foot leaves. Let's see. Where are we going next? Oh, while we're here, let me tell you that the hat driver sits almost flush with the arm. So I'm trying to show you, and you can't really see it. I'm sorry, I should know better. But I'm trying to show you the quality of stitches in this lettering. Those are 4 millimeter tall letters. Now, it's still good for a 40 weight thread, um, and they stitched so full, so clear. No adjustments to the tension, no adjustments to the machine settings. Everything, it was perfect. It was wonderful. Making small lettering with this machine is going to be amazing. Let's see, where are we at here? Just kind of stalling. If you have any questions regarding regarding this machine or any other machine, because I've had a few of them. Oh, Cindy had a question here. So, can you change the pressure foot pressure? Well, I did learn this last week in my on-site training that yes, you can, but you don't. You don't need to, because the machine auto checks it, auto sets it. There's really no need to change it. Sure, if you're going to extremes, if you're going to want to stitch that 12 millimeter puff, you might want to look at adjusting the presser foot. But for your general everyday use, it's not necessary. So what was I saying? Yes, if you have any questions, don't ever hesitate to send me a message. Oh, here we go again. Gonna pause. I'm talking about the the arm aperture. It's small. It's really, really small. It will allow you to stitch a pocket. Yep. Let's see. Oh, Cindy's Cindy's saying that she thinks I've picked a winner. Remember, I said I wasn't out looking for a new machine, uh, just looking to try to get a smaller footprint in my space. But this machine, it's great. It does everything I want it to do. It's a smaller machine. Um, It'll allow me to set up different work zones in my space. I'm very, very happy with where I've taken this, where I've gone with this. So, while we're here, let me just mention that in my voiceover, you're hearing you're hearing the message notification bells as we're going. I did not turn that off before I started this recording. But that's completely minor compared to the audio issue we were having during our live recording. Let's see. Trying to get a feel for what time it is. Trying to see where we are in the recording. I know it's just about finished, and um, maybe at this point I will stop the recording and then just trim the video a little bit. I'm not seeing where we are here. So, yep, I think that's just what I'm going to do. I am going to stop recording now, say goodbye, hope to see you this next week, and again, thank you. Bye now. Be in conversation, and we'll talk about it. Embroidery machines, designs, and business. Hope to see you soon. Bye now.